Hello, hockey fans. Welcome to Hockey Night in Australia. I am Courtney Canaston and this is Sean O'Connor. We are two parts of the Oz Hockey Media team here to bring you all the latest updates in hockey in Australia. Good evening, Sean. How are you going?
Hey, Courtney. Welcome to season 2025. It should be a big year this year.
I mean, look, with the way round one started, it's already a big one.
Totally. Yes, and as people would have noticed, we've got new look, new name.
Yeah, it's fresh start for the year, and I think it's exciting for us to launch the first podcast of the year as well with all of our new look. How are you feeling about it? I'm loving it. I think you've done a great job on the artwork.
Yeah, I think it should be really good. It's been a labor of love to get this thing up properly. Yeah, and we're going to continue to improve things over time, but excited to get back into the podcast.
Yeah, likewise. So as you'd all be used to out there, we'll run through round one, looking at the games, the results, and the magic moments that happened that really stood out to the two of us, and then we'll look ahead to round two with predictions and fixtures. I'm very excited tonight to have our first guest of the season. Will be Todd joining us shortly, but we will get into the results. We'll start there. And what did you think of the weekend, Sean?
Oh, the weekend could not be further different to what I expected from the opening weekend this year. I can't remember the last time we had that many goals scored on the opening weekend and just surprising results and close games. Like there were so many games that went down to the wire.
Oh yeah, like to have two overtime games on the Sunday in round one, like it's already getting spicy and exciting. And I, from the comments I've seen across Facebook, the fans were loving it. It was such a great way to start. And North Stars didn't have a great start themselves. Perth coming out quite dominant and a well-seasoned, well-oiled machine at this point with their two wins at home. So, yeah, what were your highlights?
Yeah, my highlights definitely came from the Canberra Brisbane series as well as the Ice versus Rhinos game on the Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, Ice versus Rhinos. The Ice scored first, and everyone thought, "Oh, it's going to be a repeat of what happened yesterday with the Mustangs." But then they turned it on. They got hot, and they just kept dominating the Ice for a good portion of that game. But the Ice didn't let that down. They fought back. I was surprised, but they did it, and when they went ahead 8-7. I thought, oh, they've done this. They've actually won this game. They've actually managed to turn it around. But then the drama continued, and the Rhinos scored in like 44 seconds or something left to go in the game to send
Yeah.
it to OT. And then
Yeah.
Ivan Kulishov, pops up in overtime and wins it for the visitors. It was, yeah, quite spectacular.
Look, it would have had to have felt good for the Rhinos backing up from the day before. Obviously, that 10-1 loss to the Mustangs would have hurt, and then coming out and going from 7-4 ahead to forced overtime. That's a big challenge that they really set for themselves. So hopefully they're taking back some of that footage in review and assessing that, because it's made it for a great story for opening weekend.
Yeah, and I think that 10-1 loss on Saturday for the Rhinos was a surprise. I think the Rhinos had a lot of people thinking preseason that they've got a really strong squad this year. They should do really well. And then to lose 10-1 on the first game was like, oh, whoa, what's this?
Yeah.
So to turn that around and win the next day is, yeah, quite something. And then, in that Brisbane Canberra series, it was really close between the two teams. It got really physical, and the fans were all into it. It was great hearing that noise coming from that arena, and the commentary from Brisbane was phenomenal. They get so excited up there. I loved it. But yeah, like that, the moment that struck me from that series was within the final 2 minutes of the game. Canberra is bombing forward, trying to get an equalizing goal in the third period, and there's this rush breakaway from the Lightning, and Alex Tetro decides that he's going to come massively out of his crease, like skate down to try and stop the breakaway, and manages to get enough on it that it sort of delays it getting into the crease and giving enough time for both Bailey Kabara and Jordan Brunt to be able to get back and make a on the line kind of save to stop a goal. It was quite a magical scene.
Yeah, that's just like, to me, crazy to start the season with so much action. Like that's unreal. And look, goalies that come that far out of the crease really scare me. But if anyone can do it, it's Alex Tetre, right?
It takes a lot of bravery to do that. Like, yeah, it was
Bravery
good.
from the Brave.
That's it.
So I guess such another big factor for the year is obviously not having the two Sydney teams, and we're seeing those players scattered throughout the rest of the league this year. And one that you mentioned was Ivan Kulishov with the Rhinos instead of the Ice Dogs. So he's already had a huge impact for the Rhinos, helping them get that win.
Yeah.
And another of note, Casey Kubara being in the North Stars this year. He's a big signing for an offensive attacker for the North Stars. And he had a big game on the weekend. He got his 100th goal, and which is pretty exciting. Like, those milestones are not easy to accomplish, and it's very cool for him.
Well, especially goals, like 100 goals is something pretty special. We actually had quite a number of players get milestones on the weekend. So we had like Jordy Kiros, who got his 200th point. We had Tyler Kabara get his 150th point. And we had Jacob Ruck get 100 games as well.
Very cool to see them. And I guess that really shows the veterans that teams have. These guys have been in the league for a long time and will really step up and support the teams that they've joined this year.
Yeah, and I must say it is exciting to see, I guess, some of the changes around from those sort of Ice Dogs and Bears players being around the league. It does change the sort of makeup of teams. I saw Kimlin; he had an excellent weekend in goals for the Mustangs in that big win. So his save percentage is way up there above everyone else at the moment. But yeah, it'd be good, and it was good to see. Who else was it? Funsey for the North Stars as well. He also had a tough time, but I thought, he's still bedding into that new environment.
And as most North Stars fans were saying across socials, it's always a slow start for Newcastle. And then factor in, we've got a lot of new faces this year. It was a young squad, went to Perth against, as I mentioned, a very seasoned team. When you've got a group of guys in Thunder who have been together for such a long time and just know how each other work, you've got a big fight against you. And that's what the North Stars had, unfortunately.
Yeah, totally. It's I mean, it's a tough trip to Perth any time of year, let alone the first weekend of the year. And I think we're going to see it's going to be kind of topsy-turvy for a little while in the league, while we have teams yet not have all their imports in. You're going to have players go away for Worlds. You're going to have, just incomplete rosters. And so I expect more crazy results to come up, or unexpected results, I should say, that could shape the league. And we still haven't seen Adelaide play. I don't think they play till like the third week.
It's such a strange draw to see that. I noticed that on the weekend that they weren't in the list, and obviously the ladder's impacted by that. So yeah, I guess we just have to wait and see what they come out with in a couple of weeks' time.
Yes, and all the comments on the ladder today about I think I had the North Stars ahead of Adelaide on the ladder, and people going, no, it should be the other way. And I was like, no, the AIHL have it this way. This is the way we'll go. I know that on EP and other places they have it the other way around.
No, but look, it makes sense to follow what the AIHL website has, and we'll stick to that consistency, I think. So if they change it, we will too.
Yeah, and the other thing which did raise some questions about the ladder today, for instance, as well, was, having 4 teams on the top and 4 teams on the bottom, sort of separated. All it was is just separating the top half and bottom half, because we don't know yet what finals is going to look like this year. Whether they'll continue to run 6 teams like the format for the last 2 years, or whether they revert back to the old 4-team series from before, and whether that's the 2022 format or before that. It should be interesting.
Yeah, well, we'll keep our ears to the ground, and when we hear something we can talk about, we certainly will try. To those out there that are keen to hear about finals, I'm sure tickets are going to go on sale any day now, because last year they went on earlier. So, look, it'll be great to see what they do, and perhaps keeping the 6-game format will keep a lot of the teams motivated through the year, as it can be tricky when you hit a certain point too early and you get eliminated. So.
Yeah, and it will also be interesting to see if it is hosted in Melbourne again. I expect it to be, but with the announcement of the AIS Arena being used in Canberra this season, that's a big arena. That's a big event kind of location.
Yeah, that's a great thought. What do you know of that arena? Like, do you know about
so the
public transport,
AIS Arena,
like how easy?
So I'll give you a little bit of background. So the AIS Arena used to be the Canberra Cannons home arena back in the day for the NBL. It was known as the Palace because it was the best indoor arena used in basketball in Australia at the time. So that's its affectionate name. But it was closed for a number of years because they just fell into sort of disrepair quite a bit. So they had to spend quite a bit of money to refurbish everything. So that's what they've done now, and it's reopened, and that's why it's come up as a possibility to use for the Brave, and they've obviously taken that with 2 hands and want to play there. It's interesting. So it's in the AIS campus, so it's near Bruce Stadium. It's got heaps of parking around it. It doesn't have as much other stuff around it, but I'm sure that they will be able to make a good game day experience by bringing in possibly food trucks or that kind of thing, and try and make it an event.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do with it, and I have already heard some chatters of teams wanting to organise buses to get down there for games. So it's really exciting for the Brave, and that they also announced they'd be training there as well. So
yeah, so I think it's also exciting for the league as a whole. Like, it's a chance for Australian hockey to try and raise itself up and try and raise its profile. So, like, if you could get 2,700 people to a game, it kind of proves the concept that hockey isn't just a minority sport because that's what it is. It's there because we don't necessarily have the facilities to allow it to grow bigger. And so this will be a way to showcase that, if you give us the facilities, hockey can be a bigger sport.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully we see a lot of travelling fans heading down there. So not just the Canberra fans that have been loyal for all these years at the Brave Cave, but the travelling fans that will really fill up a lot of those extra seats as well.
Yeah, and I guess 100%. I'm excited. The other thing that I think would be good to touch on while we're talking facilities would be what's happening at Macquarie this year.
Yeah, look, it's a big loss for the AI to not have the Bears and the Ice Dogs in the competition. And there's a lot of chatter around, like I have seen a lot of comments of people saying, why couldn't they do this? Why couldn't they do that? And there also was a lot of work behind the scenes before that announcement. I think roughly off the top of my head, it was like maybe 3 to 4 weeks worth of effort before anyone knew what was actually going on. That there was a lot of conversations about, can we go here? Can we go there? And we just, I guess at this point, have to obviously trust the powers that be that they couldn't find a solution that would take care of the teams when you think that a lot of teams rely on their ticket sales. So going to other rinks doesn't always enable that to cover the costs, the travel. So,
and not to mention like the reduced crowds that you would expect if you're playing at an away rink. So let's say they had to play in Canberra or Newcastle. That's a fair distance for fans to travel from Sydney. So you would get less people most likely going to the games, and that would impact how much money you can make and operate at. So yeah, I know that a lot of people were, there's still a lot of questions about, oh, could they have done this? Could they make this work? But I think, I think they did a lot of analysis and went, nah, it's
Yeah.
just not financially viable for us to compete this year without
Yeah.
Macquarie being operational.
And I guess what people don't see are how many emails, how many phone calls, how many conversations actually happen behind the scenes. And you and I aren't even privy to exactly how many. I've heard from a few people that there were a lot, and
Yeah.
we just have to roll with it. And in this current season, we're watching these players go and really bolster up the lineup of the other teams that we have. So for North Stars, to have Funes and Annesley in our defensive lines is huge. I think they're going to have a massive impact, particularly once all our imports arrive. And speaking of the Bears, a shout out to the Bear socials. It's been really great seeing them keep their fans engaged. I think that's amazing. So just putting in that little bit of effort to go where are our guys playing, who's on today, and where they're playing. I think that's fantastic. It'll keeping them engaged on the socials there will just help them feel a little bit connected still. And even our off season, I saw a few Bears fans in their jerseys up supporting the guys for our the North Stars Rhinos preseason game, and they said they'd be back each week. So
And
they're not going anywhere.
I'm sure we'll see quite a bit of that. Bears fans and Ice Dogs fans around the league, at different locations, taking in hockey where they can. I also did see that Jason posted up a fairly heartbreaking post about not being involved this year and watching everyone else sort of make player announcements and prep for the first weekend. So shout out to the Ice Dogs as well. It's not easy not being involved when you're usually so heavily involved.
Yeah.
I'm sure once all the dust is settled, Macquarie is going to be a much better rink than it has been previously, and should actually provide a sort of premier location for hockey in Sydney, which Sydney hasn't had for a long time. So, I think it will be a good step forward in the end. It's just a pity we've had to go through the pain now.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I want to encourage hockey fans out there, tag us and share us in your posts when you're out and about and you're posting a story. Tag us Hockey Media. We'd love to share it.
Yeah, it would be really good to see more fans engaging and getting involved. We love it. Game day experiences, that's the best.
Yeah. And look,
There's nothing like it.
especially if you're an Ice Dogs or a Bears fan out there and following you guys to their other teams, and if they're North Stars Rhinos, we want to see you and keep up to date with what you're getting to, what games you're a part of, and how you find those away trips.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Shall we move on to round 2 predictions, or round 2?
And let's look at round 2 for the upcoming weekend. We have the Lightning heading down to Melbourne, and they've got a double header against the Ice and Mustangs. The Brave are at home against Perth Thunder. Should be a great matchup after watching Perth versus North Stars last weekend. And Newcastle get a split weekend. They're at home on Saturday and in Erina on Sunday. So a nice easy one for the fans to do a little road trip and head down. I have to say, I think I'm looking forward to the Perth Brave, given how Brave performed on the weekend and how Perth performed. Seeing these two powerhouses clash will be great. What are your thoughts, Sean?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's going to be a really interesting matchup between the Perth and Brave. Brave obviously split their weekend to begin with up in Brisbane, but this is quite possibly going to be the last double header at Phillip. I don't know. I think the crowd's going to be quite rowdy, and it should be a good game. I'm really interested to see how Yuhia Kasaka goes in Canberra after a phenomenal first weekend of, I think it was 8 points, 5 goals in his first game. Mr. Big Time proves his name right, and I'm interested to see how Canberra's defense will hold up to that. They have a lot of firepower in that team. So, yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah.
And then,
Look, hot tip, Canberra Brave. Mark Yuhiko. Stay on him. Don't leave him alone.
but yeah, also it'll be interesting to see how Brisbane go on the road. So they were quite good at home. But a Melbourne trip is never easy, especially when you're splitting between both playing the Mustangs and the Ice. Yeah, it's going to be exciting, and the Ice seem to be back to like almost like 2023 Goulet Ice form. Like it's like, can we outscore the opponents?
And look, they've got a lot of big veteran names coming back, like namely Vinny Hughes. So there's a lot of culture coming into the team there that I expect will have a big impact on what we see on the ice as well when they're playing.
Yeah, and Tommy Powell as well is back. You know, these are big names who have won everything in Australian hockey. Yeah, it was quite surreal seeing Vinny Hughes on the same line with Joey on the weekend. And
Blast from the
then
past.
yeah, that's right. And then also speaking of veterans coming back, I think Pat O'Kane's back for the Mustangs this year as well. So yeah, big names returning.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I'm excited for the weekend. I think it's our favourite on Sunday where we've got games that are split and a bit further apart than each other. So for those with a AIHL.tv subscription, being able to watch gets a bit easier, being able to move from each game and catch a lot of it live. So I'm looking forward to
I
seeing what we get out of it.
I do think I really hope that the streaming goes a bit better this weekend compared to last weekend. I know there was a lot of people frustrated. I was included in that. I was at the Caribou trying to watch the games, and we had quite a number of issues just trying to get the games to cast. So hopefully this weekend's a bit smoother. Yeah, it'll be good to see more rinks again. Like I haven't seen some of these rinks for ages, so yeah. Hopefully it's a good experience for all.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, what do you think finally of your North Stars, by the way? You got two derbies against the Central Coast Rhinos, and one's at home and one's away.
Look, I think it's nice to be a bit more local. The Perth trip is a big trip and quite exhausting, not just against the team, but just the getting there and back. And the red eye flight's not a fun one for the guys. So getting home the net like following that. So yeah, close to home is good. I think coming back to our fans, they know how to get loud, they know how to support our guys, and no, I think they'll be competitive. Rhinos are not the team that we saw in 23 and in
Yeah,
24. They've grown again with the likes of Tyler Kubara up in that leadership position. There's just so much going for them this year, and I really love that. I love that for their captain Bert Malloy. He and I've had a few conversations around how he's really just trying to build a legacy before his time is up in the AI, and building a foundation for their club, a place that the kids can look up to. And I think this year is going to be great for them to be that next step competitive and see the results on the board. So I think we'll probably see a closer game than they had in Melbourne.
yeah, I think so.
The preseason games were certainly much closer between the two teams. We
Mm.
have a few more players here now that we didn't have preseason. So yeah, I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be good for the fans. We get a lot of fans show up, so
Yeah, and I kind of
foot,
like this idea of having it. Both teams get a home game this weekend, and you're obviously going to
yeah,
do that another time during the year as well, rather than having two games in Newcastle this weekend and then two in the Central Coast some other time. So I think it's a good way to
yeah,
split it, and
yeah,
gives everyone a hockey weekend. So it should be fun. I must admit, I agree. I think Ron's style of hockey is starting to really bed in at the Rhinos. Yeah, they've just got to get time to gel together. Like they've got some new imports. I mean, Barzi's back. Barzi, oh my god, his
yeah.
goal on the weekend was phenomenal. The
Unreal.
guy is just so clutch when it matters. And then then I think it'll be a great series. And I'm kind of thinking it's going to be a split weekend, but we'll see.
I mean, you called the split weekend for last weekend in a few cases. Didn't
I
happen.
did.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's more likely of that happening this round. But, we're still so early in the season that it's really anybody's game, that people can warm up and get in the zone and anything can happen at this point.
Yeah, although I must say a lot of people were predicting the Mustangs to have a really good season this year because they recruited really heavily, especially on the Bears players, and they've got a strong roster together, and they dominated that first game of the year. So it'll be interesting to see if they can do that again against Brisbane. I don't know, but yeah, it should be a good game. So I think it's time to move into our quick predictions. So
Yep.
let's start with our first prediction. So first up, Courtney, we've got biggest good surprise. What is your prediction this weekend for your biggest good surprise? Just
Look,
a surprise. What do you think?
I think
Unexpected?
Brisbane Lightning are gonna. I think Brisbane Lightning will pull a couple of wins out of the bag. I think they're a solid team, and I think we're going to see some big action out of Brisbane this weekend.
Yeah, I think that's a solid good surprise to put up. My prediction for biggest good surprise this weekend was going to be a Rhinos victory in Newcastle, and then Newcastle
Ooh.
victory on the Central Coast.
Look, that would certainly mix it up.
All right, so we'll move on to our second goal horn breaker. So this is the highest scorer. Who's going to be the highest scorer this weekend?
I'm going to say a Kubara. I'm not going to specify which one. One of them.
See, I also picked a Kabara. I picked Casey Kabara. I reckon he's going to be the highest scorer this weekend. I reckon he's going to get 7 points.
Oh, okay.
I think he's going to have a great one. All right, so the third one we've got coming up is the stingiest defense. All right, as the name suggests, the stingiest defense, fewest goals. Who is going to concede the fewest goals? It could be a goaltender, it could be a team. It's hard because last weekend there were so many goals.
There were so many goals. Look, I'm going to go with Oberoi and the Rhinos. I think he is absolutely solid. And I know on the weekend he was stopping big numbers, like I think almost 60 goals again. And yeah, I'm gonna go with Oberoi. I think he's gonna make it really, really tough for Newcastle.
Nice. Well, my prediction is the Brisbane Lightning. I think they're going to concede the fewest goals. I think they've got a really good defense, and they could, they could do really well in Melbourne. And our last one. The crazy prediction. What's one wild, wacky thing that you think could happen this weekend?
I'm gonna say that there might be some big points out of players. So I'm gonna say maybe Yuhi Kasaka is gonna go for some more. He got 5 goals in one game. I think he might do it again.
That would be something special. Well, my one was I'm going to predict that there will be another 9-8 game involving the Rhinos this weekend with the North Stars. It's going to be terrible for the fans, but also great. So yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah, that's the key, right? We want fans and players having fun and enjoying it. So yeah, that's a good one.
All right, so that's our round 2 wrap up, guys.
All right, hockey fans, we are so excited to welcome our first guest of the season. Welcome, Cameron Todd.
Hey guys, thanks for having me tonight.
Thanks for coming, Cam. It's good to have you on, our very first guest on Oz Hockey Media after our rebrand. So, and first guest for 2025.
I feel very honoured. Thank you very much.
So I guess, you've had a very eventful off season, to say the least. The move from the Ice Dogs to the Brave, the closure of Macquarie Rink. How has this? How has this felt? Actually, being this different compared to the last number of years.
Yeah, it's been very different to be honest. It's all been a bit of a whirlwind, to say the least. I mean, we heard rumblings that the rink was going to potentially close. We got told that might not be happening, but then told again that it was happening. And it wasn't until not too long before things were starting to get ready for other teams, that we found out that the season wasn't happening. So initially felt really, really disappointed because I thought we were making good waves with the Ice Dogs moving forward, and I thought we had a lot of potential for this year. But then didn't have much time to think about that before thinking, okay, I'm definitely going to be playing again this year, and I've got to find a team to play for. So just put some feelers out, and the Brave is where I've ended up.
So what attracted you to the Brave?
A number of things. Obviously, logistics-wise, it's pretty plausible for me, living in the south area of Sydney, so can still go down there. Family can come down to games, which is a big positive for me. Another reason too, Geordie Gavin. I've been a long-time friend of his. We played on national teams together for inline, and he spoke very, very highly of the Brave organisation. I verified that with some of the other guys that have been there for a long time, and there's no secret as to why they've won some good All Cups recently. It's a first-class organisation. They take care of their players. They have amazing fans, and I really thought it'd be a great opportunity to be a part of an already winning established culture and try and win a good All Cup for myself as well this year.
Yeah, well, yeah, hopefully that can come off for you. Winning another good All Cup would be pretty good. I bet you weren't expecting to be playing out of the AIS this year.
Yeah, I still can't believe that, to be honest. When I found out the other day, I thought it was actually an April Fool's joke, and I'm like, this is a pretty elaborate one. But then I double checked my watch, and it was actually the second. So actually seeing the photos and the markups and the SketchUps of how it's going to look, it's stunning, and it still won't fully set in until we're playing that first game there. But I can't believe it. It's such an amazing thing for hockey in Australia, and especially such a deserving fan base too down in Canberra.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that the bigger facility will allow more people to be able to come enjoy hockey in Canberra. The potential could be huge. So let's hope we fill it out. So so Goodall Cup's obviously a good reason. It's interesting. Canberra does have a very winning culture since it became the Brave. So it would be. I think you definitely add a lot to the Brave organization there. How did you find the opening weekend up in Brisbane? There were some tough games.
Yeah, it's always a tough slog playing against Brisbane. They're a gritty team to play against, and don't really make it easy. So we kind of knew it was going to be a bit of a grind going into the weekend, which is always tough the first weekend of the season when you're still trying to build chemistry with new players, and don't have full rosters here yet with obviously the imports still coming. So we kind of knew it was going to come down to effort, and I thought we showed a tremendous amount of effort. A few bounces didn't go our way on the Saturday night, but we showed good character and came back and got a big win on the Sunday to secure some points. So yeah, very very happy with the effort for sure, and I think that a lot of things will improve as we go on.
Yeah, I think last season was very similar to that too.
So looking ahead to this weekend, you've got a double header in the Brave Cave, and it's against Perth Thunder. So how you're feeling about that, and getting a chance to play in the Brave Cave before you move over to AIS?
I'm stoked for it. I've always loved going down and playing in the Brave Cave as an away player. I think it's a fantastic atmosphere. The fans are right on top of it, and I like the small size of the ice. It brings me out an intense style of hockey. So being able to play there, have a chance to play there before we move over, is pretty exciting. I'm in front of all the fans, and I'm really looking forward to playing against the Thunder. Obviously, they had a pretty good first weekend, but I think it'll be a really good measuring stick for us. And I think we'll be a lot better, and I think they're going to be two great games.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, and I guess moving on from round two, we can move into your recent experiences with the national team. You're obviously the captain for the Australian team, or have been the last Worlds plus Trans-Tasman. How was that series down in Auckland? I think it was.
Yeah, it was in Auckland at the rink in Botany. Yeah, the Trans-Tasman series was a success for us. Obviously, we got the 3 wins, which is always nice. But I think it was really good to have a few of the new guys there, because there's a lot of fresh faces this year. So to have a few games together and where we can start building some team culture, some team chemistry is vital before we're going away to Worlds. Because once we get over there, it's kind of hit the ground running. And
yeah, what's it
against...
like to be in that kind of that world experience? Like, I imagine it's quite whirlwind, because you've got to play like a bunch of games in a very short space of time. You're flying over the other side of the world. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a vortex, to be honest. You kind of silo yourself off a bit from the rest of the world, and everything is just done in a very small vacuum, I guess, because, as you said, you get over there, you hit the ground running, and it's like you play a game and you put everything into the game, and regardless of the result, you have less than 24 hours to prepare for the next game. So it's it takes a lot of mental preparation and a mental ability to kind of, no matter what the results are, move on to the next one. And it can be very, very draining. But I think the coaches have done a good job of preparing us for that. And a lot of guys have brought a lot of experience in to help deal with that. So I think with a lot of new guys, I think we'll be okay, because there's a lot of experience around.
Yeah, and obviously with quite a number of younger guys who this will be their first time going away to Worlds. It was good to see that a lot of the guys from the Trans-Tasman series got picked up in the Worlds team. So there is that continuity, and I guess your leadership and the on ice leadership is going to play a bigger role this year than perhaps last year.
Yeah, definitely. I think what's really helped me is I've been a part of teams that have had some very good leaders before me. So obviously Bert was the previous captain, and then before him, Lam Webster, 2 fantastic leaders. And I kind of learned a lot of them throughout my time, and just learning little things here and there about how to help get the best out of guys, and then obviously bringing what makes me a good leader to the table as well. I think is important, and not trying to change myself too much, but kind of do what I can to help everyone be the best they can be, which is what I try and take a lot of pride in.
Yeah, awesome. Courtney, did you have anything else to say on this?
No, you covered everything I had thought of. So look, we're excited for you, and obviously wish you the best. We'll be covering it as best we can from over here.
We will be. It's an exciting tournament to go ahead. I really think you guys have a good chance this year.
Yeah, I think for sure. Like I think last year with it was a bit chaotic getting the tournament together, and then we went away, and I think we shocked a few teams, but we lacked that ability to close out games, and maybe just a bit of maturity. But I think this year we're not going away, going to shock anybody. Like, everyone is going to be expecting stuff from us, and I think we're going to be able to step up to the table and prove that I guess expectations are there, because I really think Australia deserves to be back winning medals again, and that's what we want to do.
Awesome. Look forward to that. I guess the last thing I wanted to raise with you was a little bit of prediction. What do you reckon's going to be the best thing from round 2 this weekend in the AI?
Oh, the best thing from round 2.
Like, biggest surprise. What's your biggest surprise?
Oh, I saw the Perth Thunder put up a few goals last weekend. I don't reckon they're going to put up any in the Brave Cave this weekend.
I like it.
Back to back shutouts for Brave and Australian goalie Teds. Yeah.
That would be a good surprise. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're going to lock it down.
I love it.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on tonight, Cam. It's been great having you. I know it's a short and sweet, but yeah, we hope to have you on again sometime.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks heaps for having me on, and thanks for all the hard work you guys do covering hockey in Australia. It's really nice to have a media outlet and go a bit more in depth on what the players are and what it means to the fans as well. It's huge.
Yeah, awesome.
Look, best of luck for the season with Canberra, and good luck for Worlds as well. Hopefully you have a great time and a great season personally, and of course with the team overall.
Well, thank you very much.
And hopefully next year, Ice Dogs, Bears back, Macquarie, bigger and better than ever. It should be an exciting time coming up.
There should be more high quality rinks in Australia. That's what we want. So hopefully that goes through, and we'll be looking up.
Awesome. Thanks, Cam.
Awesome. No worries. Thanks, guys. Take care.
See ya.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you, hockey fans, for joining us for our first hockey night in Australia for 2025. We look forward to having you join us again for future weeks. We will be taking a break next week, as a number of our team are away on a break. So we'll come back to you the week after Easter with just an interim podcast. We'll touch base with what happens this weekend and ahead of the week after Easter. And look forward to seeing you then. Thank you for joining us. And any last thoughts, Sean?
Yeah, thanks, Courtney. Yeah, it's been a good first podcast of the year. I hope everyone's enjoyed it. We're always really keen to hear feedback on how to improve and how to, make this the best podcast we can for the Australian ice hockey community. So, yeah, drop us a comment, drop us a line. It'll be great to hear from you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to round 2 and the Easter break.
We'll see you all after the break.